everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and I have been asked over the last number of days to please profile the crime of the Idaho student murders. And I've not wanted to do so because there was so little information coming out that I would just have nothing to say particularly. However, now more information has come out, courtesy of the Daily Mail, the UK paper, which some people call the Daily Fail, but they do have good crime news. So I'll guarantee that their news of the U.S. crimes is better than the U.S. papers. So go figure. So there is more information out. And because of that, I can now do a little more analyzing of the crime. But what I'm going to tell you is I'm not doing a profile of the crime. I am profiling the crime. And that's two different things. And I want people to understand that because there's a lot of misconceptions about profiling. The basic conception is that you're going to profile the crime. You're going to say exactly who the offender is. And there recently was a retired FBI profiler who came out on air and did give such a profile. He said it was a young man, sloppy, impulsive, liked knives, and would go around showing people his knives, and probably a hunter or a butcher, because he didn't shy from the sight of blood, and that he wouldn't be working during those hours of the night, and that he might have left town, and so on and so forth. A lot of this is general stuff, and some of it's plain out guesswork that has absolutely no support in evidence. This is not an actual methodology of profiling I approve of. Profiling is when you analyze the evidence deductively. You analyze the physical evidence, you analyze the behavioral evidence, and what you do is you develop avenues of investigation, not absolutes. Avenues of investigation based on what you know. It's supposed to be a tool for investigators, not something that's a pronouncement, like a psychic thing. It's like, I know who this guy is. He's exactly this. No, you could throw a whole investigation off track. What you're doing is analyzing the evidence logically and coming up with these avenues of investigation. You might have avenues you think are better to be investigated than others. So you might have priorities. Like we're going to go down this direction, and then we're also going to take a look at this, and not so much this, but we're going to check it out. And we may have a top person of interest, but that doesn't mean that person did it, and so on and so forth. This is exactly what detectives are doing right now who are working on the investigation. They are profilers in their own right. So they have to be doing this. So detectives on the case or profilers brought in, which is not done very often, but if a profiler were working with the police department, they would be doing this as well, maybe bringing an experience from many, many cases, which could be very useful to the investigation. And so profiling, well, depends on how much information you have. Now, I'm not working with the police department. I haven't seen the crime scene photos. I haven't seen the autopsy photos. I haven't seen the evidence reports. I haven't seen any of the interviews. I'm working with pretty much what you out here in the public are working with. Therefore, my profiling determinations are going to be not as good as somebody who has access to everything. But I do think I can work with what I have to help you understand how the process works and what the police might be doing. So that's what I'm going to show you with this video. All right, so the police, I believe, are looking at three basic avenues of who killed these young people. They're looking at one of the avenues is going to be the stalking concept. A lot of people have talked about the video that was seen at the food truck with two of the girls. That would be Madison and Kaylee are out at the food truck chatting with everybody. And there's like some creepy, I don't know if it's that the guy, but there's some creepy dude in the background. I think it's this guy over here. And then there is a question about other people who they had run into that night who could be stalking them. Or somebody even not to do with that night, but who might be stalking them anyway. or the other two, which would be Ethan and Xana. That was the couple that was at the house. So the stalking angle is one angle. The next angle is serial killer / mass murderer crazy guy. Somebody like Danny Rowling, who was the Gainesville killer. He killed 5 students in Gainesville, Florida, way back when, and one was a couple. There was a guy sleeping over at the girl's house, and he killed him. He didn't rape the guy; he just killed the guy and then raped the girl. He was a rapist and a torturer, and then he killed them and did other things with them. Pretty brutal guy, and he used a K-bar knife, which some believe might have been used in this particular crime. Now, none of the people in the house, none of the victims were sexually assaulted, and that, as far as we know, that's what we've been told, which is pretty odd for a serial killer of this sort to go in there and just kill and walk away. So, not that it couldn't be a serial killer who's more into just killing, or a mass murderer type who just wanted to go in and take everybody out, a possibility. So that's the second avenue of investigation. The third one would be Kaylee's boyfriend. Kaylee's boyfriend is, let me remember his name here. Kaylee's boyfriend, or somebody like a boyfriend, is somebody who knew one of the girls very well. Theoretically, it could be one of them. Let me see. Hold on a second. I just want to bring up the name of this guy. Okay. So this is Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend's ex-boyfriend, Jack. I'm not sure how his name is pronounced. Ducour. They were in an on-off relationship. So we're just going to call him Jack from here on out. There's some reasons why he would be a person of interest, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But let me go back to the stalker one. I'm going to go back to avenue number 1. All right. So avenue number 1, we got the theory of somebody stalking. All right. I have some problems with this because usually stalkers stalk for quite a while. They pick out one victim, somebody they're really obsessed with, and they go after that one victim. And in this particular case, we have someone who accessed a home with a student house where there were 6 people there, coming in at all hours, perhaps staying up at night. That's a pretty unknown quantity of people and what they're doing even in the middle of the night. So if you're a stalker and you just want to have your one moment in the sun by killing the one person you're obsessed with, it's pretty weird that you would go into a house with that many people. So it's difficult to think that's what it was, just a random stalker who had their eye. There's a lot of other times a stalker could kill the victim of choice and not have to do it with a whole bunch of other people around. Yeah, that just I find really odd. And then that stalker would have to understand the layout of the house and where that victim would be. It's dark there, and he would have to know the bedroom that the person was in. So possibly that stalker could have known the victims and been in their house before, and therefore could have come in. Let me show you the house itself. Come in. This is where the access point was. Come in here. And then said, okay, now I'm in the house. I'm going to find the one I want to kill and just go there, maybe upstairs, and kill the one girl. But if he knows where she is and he's killed the one girl, there's really not much reason to go kill everybody else. The others were, again, I do not know exactly, supposedly asleep. So if that's true, if he was able to kill that one person and no one woke up, or it wasn't obvious, he could run out of the house. And it'd be wiser to get the heck out of the house than try to have to kill 3 more people. That seems a little excessive for a stalker. So I have a bit of trouble with that. The stalker theory is just a little on the weak side for me. If it was somebody who followed them home that night, this is then they wouldn't have very little understanding of even the house and where everybody slept. So that stalker would have to hate everybody and just go in there and kill everyone for no reason. So I lean away from the stalker theory just because I can't come up with a good reason and a good methodology for that stalker to commit this crime. So let's go to the next one, which is a little bit more reasonable to me. All right. Some kind of serial killer, mass murderer dude. Somebody who wanted the thrill of the kill and maybe had been spying. Danny Rowling used to like watch these student houses and make his decision when to go in. And even if there were two there, he didn't mind two. He'd go in and kill two. So it could be somebody like that who just for the thrill of the kill decided, look, I'm going to get one of these bunch of students. And I saw the girls go in there. Now I know there's girls in there. Now, mind you, when we look back at the victims, Ethan here wasn't, he was sleeping over because it was her boyfriend. And I don't know how often he did that. Obviously, with girls, sometimes do bring their boyfriends in, but this was a female house. It wasn't a mixed, they weren't like three boys and three girls in this house. It was a female house. He was just there because he was staying over with his girlfriend. If he wasn't supposed to be there, then a mass murderer, serial killer type could say, hey, I'm going in there and get the girls. He could decide that, well, if I come in this part of the house, I'm going to get whatever girls are up here. Not worried about the ones down here where two more were, but hey, there's girls up here. I'll get whatever's up here. And he goes through and methodically kills them because he finds that thrilling and then leaves. Is that possible? It's an avenue. Because sometimes you get a person who will, just really hone in on a particular group that he sees. I don't know how he got in. There supposedly is a, one of these pads you have to click in the code. Now, was it actually initiated? Was the place locked up? That would be a good question. And I don't know the exact answer to that. The girls were drunk. So did they come in and not activate it? I don't know how their system worked, whether it was automatic or not. If there was a code needed to get in, then it would be unlikely that some guy watching the place would know the code. If it was left open, then the guy could get in. And here's something just to be aware of, that a guy who's watching, he could have watched night after night and saw the girls go in, and he could have checked the door one night and it didn't open. He was like, okay, this needs a code. I can't do that. He sees the girls leave the door open. This is the night he goes and strikes. Is this possible? Yeah, it's an avenue that they're going to have to investigate. Is there some crazy serial killer / mass murderer type of guy out there who just wants to be some creepy guy, who's going to break in and go through the house and find the girls wherever they are, and then ran into Ethan and said, crap, there's a guy here, but what the heck, got to take him out too. And so he gets taken out. That's a possibility. For me, again, that's interesting. If he, that he would go through the whole house and do this. But I'm not, I don't see necessarily good proof of that this is how this guy would work. I'm also looking at the layout of the house. Let me throw the layout of the house here. Okay, so layout of the house is a little weird. So here's where you come in. This is that entrance to the kitchen. And in the downstairs area, there's supposedly this bedroom here, but that's not where the couple was. So you actually have to go up here, and I'm quoting from what I've heard. You have to go through the laundry room to enter the bedroom, which is kind of strange. It's like, how would you even know there's a bedroom back here? I'm not even sure. And as far as going upstairs, it's weird because you can't see a staircase here, but I believe it's around the foyer area here. And so somehow you go up the stairs, and then you've got the choice of the two girls. So one of the questions would be, did somebody target the entire house, or did somebody target who's ever in the house? Here would be my theory on that. If the girl here, that would be Xana, was targeted, there would be no reason to go upstairs and kill the other two. That just doesn't make sense to me. So let's say we'll go back to stalker guy. He comes in here, he wants Xana. He goes there, oh my God, she's with her boyfriend. He has to kill both of them. Fine. He's all right with that. But at that point, he's also a little shook because he wasn't planning to run into boyfriend. And what you do then is you come right back out here and you go out the door. You run away. You do not have any reason to go up there and kill these girls at all. So that I find it hard to believe these girls will be killed by somebody stalking Xana. Now, if the guy was stalking the two girls up here, that makes more sense. He could have come in. If he didn't know where they were, he's looking for them, and he runs into these and they kills them, but he still wants to kill these. So then he makes his way upstairs and finds them and kills them. Possible. I'm not overly excited about that theory, but it's possible. Or if the guy did actually know the layout of the house prior to that, then he would know he could come in here and see. Now you wonder why he ran into them. If he just wanted the girls, he could just come in here and go straight up the stairs and kill the girls and then go straight down the stairs and get out. So that's interesting. Again, why are these two getting killed? And if these two are the targets, or this girl is a target, why are these two getting killed? If these two are the target, why is anybody here getting killed? This is a conundrum. And one of the problems is that we don't know exactly where the bodies were found. Now, supposedly, they were asleep and there were defense wounds. I don't know that that's 100% true. I don't know whether somebody actually got up and heard noise and started moving, and the killer ran into somebody or heard them and went in and got them because they heard noise from a particular location. I don't know if one of these groups heard screaming, and so whoever heard the screaming woke up and started to move around and attracted the killer's attention. I don't know, because I don't know where the bodies were found. I don't know what the blood spatter patterns were. I don't know. If I could see that, I could tell you who was killed first, second, third, and fourth. I could tell you a lot about the behaviors of the killer, but I don't have any access to that. So I don't know exactly what happened in that house. The police do. So they're ahead of me on that. And they may have a pretty good clue where they're going, or where their top avenue of investigation is, and what they're going to put more effort into, or who even their top suspect might be, or top person of interest. So now let me go on to the boyfriend, Jack. All right. So this is Kaylee's boyfriend, Jack. Now, interesting, when this first came out, when you get different kinds of news, what we heard was some interesting things which caught my attention, I must say. What caught my attention was this. At 2:26 a.m., Kaylee starts to call Jack. That's what, I guess this is her mother, Olivia Gonzalez, told Inside Edition, which described Jack as a young man. I think he's 26. I think Kaylee's 21. Don't quote me on that. Kaylee calls Jack 6 times between 2:26 and 2:44 a.m. From 2:44 to 2:52, Maddie calls Jack 3 times. So both of these girls are awake. And I would say they might be together at this point in time. Then Kaylee makes a final call to him at 2:52. So for over 30 minutes, they're trying desperately to get hold of Jack. Now, that is a red flag to me. Why is this? Well, oftentimes when some horrible incident occurs, you look at something different that happened prior to that incident. Whether it's a breakup with a boyfriend, whether there's a drug deal going on, or whether what is going on in that person's life that something may have changed that's abnormal. Well, that was weird. I looked at that and said, right before these girls get killed, I mean, almost right before, they're calling Jack, both of them. Why? And now the mother explained, I believe it was the mom who explained, and some friends, they were probably just drunken calling. Okay, drunken calling. Okay, so you have been out, you're drinking, you're pretty trashed. You come in and you're like, let's call Jack, even though he should be asleep. Why would you call him at that time in the morning? But hey, they're kids, you know what I mean? Maybe they're like, I want to call my honey, even though they were not actually together at the time. He was an ex-boyfriend. And then the parents say some interesting things about how, no, they're going to get back together again. I'll talk about that in a second. But she might have thought, I want to call him because he's like, he's still, my guy, I'm going to call him. And then the other girl's like, hey, it's been my friend forever, so let's just call him and let's call him. But that's a lot of calling, you know. And here's what I don't understand. Did they leave a message? But a lot of people these days, when they call, they don't leave messages. But usually they text. Were there any texts to Jack? Why were they calling? Hi, we had fun tonight. What you been doing? Would be fairly meaningless. If they're calling for some other reason, that would be interesting. Would the police have the text? I would believe so. So the police should know if there was any communication that gave them a hint of what these calls were about. Now, clearly, Jack did not answer the calls. There was a claim he was asleep at the time, and I guess he shut the phone off and didn't answer. Is this, and we would have to look at behavior. Is this common for him to shut his phone off at night? Like, I don't know where he works. Maybe he shuts it off at night because he doesn't want to be disturbed by drunken girls. He turns it off so I can go to work in the morning and I don't have to be woken up because you girls are in college and I'm not, and he knows how girls are. That's perfectly legitimate. And this is what the police would find out in the interviews that I have no access to. They would be interviewing everyone to find out what his behaviors were as far as answering the phones go. Now, the parents say something else kind of interesting. We are supporting him, and we know in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls and in the depth of our soul, Jack is hurting, she continued. Kaylee and Jack would have eventually been married. They would have eventually been married, and they would have eventually had children. Christy explained, Kaylee and Jack had been dating for years, and the pair were on track to get back together again after spending some time apart. Okay. I don't know how you're getting back together again after spending some time apart. Like the parents are saying this is on track. Something went off the tracks. There was some reason they broke up and took time apart. When people take time apart, and if you've ever watched the Friends stuff, you know what happened with Rachel there, and I forgot his name now. Shoot. Yeah, him, Rachel's boyfriend. And they took their time apart, and he had a girl one night, had sex with a girl, and then Rachel didn't forgive him, right? So, that's what happens. And who were they seeing when they were apart? Were there issues over this? And were they really getting back together again? The parents have a very glowing review. Oh my God, they would have eventually got married and they'd eventually have children. And they're on track. I mean, is that just parents wishful thinking? Do they really like this guy and just like, hey, we've always liked him, and you'd be a great couple, and we don't want you getting somebody new. He's always been part of our lives. He's already our son-in-law. Hey, marry the dude. And then they also say this, which I find interesting. We're supporting him, and we know in our hearts and minds and souls he's hurting. Okay. They also said they were 100%, 200% behind him and believed that the police were wasting their time investigating him. Now, there was something that came out a little while back that he was in Boise, like 5 hours away, and couldn't have committed the crime. And then now it seems to turn out that wasn't Jack, but it was a guy named Jake. This is the kind of gossipy thing you get, and you don't know where the truth is, which is why you have to be careful when you listen to anything on the internet or read anything in the news, even from the national news media. Half the time they're wrong too. So as far as I can see, if Jack was, I'm going to say this, even if he were in Boise 5 hours away, that doesn't mean he couldn't have committed the crime. And why, you ask? It's, but he's away, 5 hours away. Hey, he wouldn't be the first person who drove 5 hours into town, committed a crime, and drove 5 hours back, and that's his alibi. And he just leaves his phone in Boise, and then, he doesn't answer it when the girls call, and the phone isn't tracked to there. Now, of course, you have the problem of your car being seen on the highway, and that's what the police will be looking for, to see if you were in movement, that kind of stuff. Check your gas tank, how much, if you put gas in your car, all of that. Who might have seen you where. But I don't know that he was out of town, because if the police were investigating him, and the parents of Kaylee are saying, we believe 100, 200%, we're behind him 200%, we don't think he did this. If he absolutely couldn't have done it, if he had an alibi that was airtight, they wouldn't have to say that. They go, well, of course he didn't do it. He's got an alibi, for God's sakes, he couldn't have done it. Even if we didn't like him, he couldn't have done it. But I don't have any evidence that he couldn't have done it. And when the police say people have been cleared, that they don't have to be telling the truth. I don't know. I did read someplace. I thought somebody said somewhere it said the police had cleared him, but I don't know if that's true. So you're only absolutely 100% cleared if you have a rock solid alibi, or the DNA at the scene matches somebody else completely different and you know who the other guy is. Then you're cleared. All right. So should Jack be a suspect? Yeah. And in my opinion, unless they have some evidence that says he isn't, would he be a good person of interest? Yes. And a top person of interest. Why is this? All right. Here's the reason. One is, it appears somebody knew the inside of the house and maybe knew the code on the door. That would be a person like Jack. He's been in the house before. He probably does know the code to the door. He knows who's in the house. He knows a lot about their behaviors. He knows where everybody sleeps. He's got that one down. So that would be one good reason. Number two, they were broken up and supposedly getting back together, but were they? Or were there still issues outstanding? That would be number two. So he would be, an ex is always a person of interest. Number three, why all the phone calls to him at that time in the morning? Now, is it possible that he did contact them? And this is what the police know. Contact the girls earlier in the day, say some things that were concerning, that freaked them out, and they're calling back and, hey, Jack, what's your problem? Hey, Jack, answer the phone. Are you okay now? Are you okay with us now? I don't know. I don't know why they were calling him, and whether there was some reason for them to be concerned about him, or were they just calling him for the fun of it? I don't know which one. But if they were calling him because they were concerned, and then that would be another reason. Number four, his phone was off. That means that the phone wasn't tracked. So they could be calling him and he could have left the phone at home and be at the house, entering the house to kill them. So that's another reason. And the fifth reason, the dog. The dog wasn't killed. It's his dog. It's his dog, and the dog also knows him. So that's a way for somebody to go into the house. And, you wonder about this with a stalker or anybody else. They go into the house and the dog starts barking away. And, of course, we'd have to find out whether the dog was a barker or not. But, usually a stranger comes in, the dog starts barking, waking people up. And that's kind of, for somebody who doesn't know the house coming in, that's like, whoa, that's a dog. You either kill the dog quick, get it out of the way, or maybe you run away. But the dog didn't know him, so he could probably pat the doggy on the head and be all right. And the dog wasn't killed. He has the dog now. The other thing which one just wonders about is why the other couple was killed. So let me go back to that again, because if it wasn't somebody who's coming in to just commit mayhem in the house, you have to wonder why this couple was killed. Now, if your boyfriend and you know this house, you know exactly where these girls are. So what you're going to do is come in, you're going to go straight through there, and you're going to go right up here to the girls, and you're going to attack them there. Now, if there are defense wounds on the girls' hands, they were alive. I don't know who's got the defense wounds in this. Again, this is not a profile of the crime. This is me profiling what I know to show you how the police would look at it with certain amounts of information. If they were the ones with a lot of defense wounds, they were trying to save themselves. They may have said nothing. Sometimes when you're trying to prevent an attack, you're so freaked that you can't get anything out. Just like, on the other hand, sometimes they scream like a son of a gun. If these girls start screaming up here, by the time he kills them and gets down here, it is entirely possible that boyfriend over here wakes up and walks out to find out what the devil is going on. And he runs into Kaylee's boyfriend, Jack. Now, very possible he knows Jack. At that point, Jack has no choice. He can't just run out of the house. He would have to go in there and kill the two of them. And that would be the motive for those two to be murdered. And of course, I don't know if anybody's body was found here and not both asleep in bed. I don't know. That's a good question. If they're both still asleep in bed, unless I would think anybody who did this would just run out the door unless there's some reason they had to interact over here. So somebody could have gotten up and started walking out and seeing the person and then run back into the room. And then they came after them, killed them on the bed. Doesn't mean they were asleep when they were killed. So I don't know, because I don't have the crime scene photos. I would love to know what order they were killed in. And that a lot of times you can tell from blood spatter pattern. And also when you kill somebody and you still have the knife in your hand and you're walking through the house, you will take the blood. Let's say you killed up here first. Let's say you're in bedroom 2 first. You stab somebody here, one of the girls, and then you walk here. The blood drops all the way into here, and then you stab somebody here, and then and now you see the blood coming this way, and then you see two types of blood going down the stairs, and so you can see how this works, or vice versa. If they were killed first, then you see this going this direction. So blood spatter pattern is very meaningful, and the blood of each person as it's identified as to which drops of blood are whose. That's very important for figuring out a lot of the motive of the crime. So, am I saying Jack did it? No, I'm not. I'm trying to explain to you the different scenarios that the police will be looking at. They may have cleared him. They may have already found that he does have a solid alibi, that it's not him, so it isn't him. And this is why I don't like people on the internet start going crazy. I'm just trying to explain why they would be looking at these 3 different scenarios. It would appear to me that I find it hard to believe the person didn't have some awareness of the house and the rooms that everyone was sleeping in. So I would tend to believe somebody knew the victims. And I just find it odd for a stalker to go in there and just kill 4 people when he's only really going to be focused on one. Let's say somebody was talking about the guy at the stand. Like, there was a guy who was saying things that they were kind of like not real positive about the girls. Like, they were kind of insulting the girls. Like, maybe that was one of those guys that's like, oh, those girls didn't pay attention to me, I'm going to go get those girls. And he followed them home and saw them go in the house. Maybe he saw the lights go on upstairs, possibly. Maybe not, and then just waited till it got quiet and said, we're going to go upstairs and get them. Is that possible? Yes, especially if they left the door open and there's no code. Could have happened. So what should the police look at? They should look at the stalker theory. They should look at the serial killer / mass murderer guy. And they should look at the boyfriend of Kaylee and anyone else who might have been very close to them for some reason, might have an interest in doing one of them in. But those are the avenues of investigation I believe the police are taking. And the more evidence they have, which they do, the more they can decide that one of these avenues is not worth investigating. When they can eliminate something completely, okay, that avenue's gone, we're now focusing down on this avenue or these 2 avenues. And they may be doing that. They may already be there. I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes. And so I can't see all of that. I don't believe the guy has to necessarily be enthralled with knives. A lot of people, especially, in Idaho, they do fishing, they do hunting. It's true. The FBI profiler, he's got a point. He might be familiar with a knife. But then again, some people just like a knife because they like to be ninja-like, and some people have a knife for cooking, or they have an idea of what they want to do, so they go out and buy a knife, and you can get a nice, good, solid knife for a reasonable price, even on Amazon. If you're going to kill somebody, you probably shouldn't go on Amazon, but you can go down to a knife store someplace and pick up a knife, especially in an area where there's a lot of fishing and hunting going on. So you can get yourself a knife, and you don't even have to be good at using it if everybody is theoretically asleep. And if you're enraged, if you're angry, I mean, there are people who commit some really heinous crimes that have never committed a crime before. And they can commit incredibly brutal crimes when they've never committed a crime before. They can commit it brutally because because of the anger. They can commit it brutally because they're psychopathic. They can commit it brutally because they freak out and then start stabbing like a son of a gun because they don't know what else to do. So they're just doing this stuff. It's really hard to say. And some people say, well, what about this guy? He's a pretty big guy. You know, how is it, you know, he got killed off? Well, I don't know. He was there. And maybe it was a necessity. You know, even when I talk about, let's say this, what's her name, Xana. Let's say Xana heard something. She came out of the room and then freaked out and ran back to the safety of his arms, but he's asleep. And the killer follows right in. Who is he going to kill first? He's going to kill the big guy first. And all it takes, and Danny Rolling did this very well, he just took the knife and stabbed him straight in the chest. I'm going to guarantee you, if you got a large knife in your chest, you don't fight that much after that. I don't care if you're an MMA fighter. You don't have much left in you when you get a knife through the heart. And then once you get the knife in the guy like that, then you turn on the girl and then you finish them off. I can even accomplish this. I'm a 67-year-old woman. I can do this. I guarantee you. You don't have to be a big guy. You don't have to be a hunter. You don't have to be any of these things. You just have to be psychopathic, angry, crazy, a combination of those things, and you can commit a crime like this. So is the community in danger? Yes, I believe the community is still in danger because this person is out there, and who knows how desperate they are. So I would say you never know. If this was a serial killer type guy, even though nobody was raped, so it seems kind of unlikely, but if he just likes going in and killing people for the fun of it, well, he might want to do what Danny Rolling did. Danny Rolling terrorized Gainesville because he committed. I think it was. Wait a minute, I'm trying to think now. I think it was three different breaking and enterings and rapes and murders. And so everybody was terrified. And even the last girl that was killed, when he got to her home, she's like, "You're the guy, aren't you?" And she knew the guy was out there. And then she saw him. She says, "You're the guy, aren't you? And you're going to kill me." And he said, "Yeah, that's what I'm going to do." So, yes, I think the community, there is a danger. Now, the police kept saying there wasn't. I think that's because they do believe their top choice, I believe, is that this is somebody the girls knew. And therefore, it's a personal crime as opposed to being just a crazy serial killer or a crazy stalker. Although if it's a crazy stalker, he already got whom he wanted, so maybe he doesn't need to kill again. So, but these things, nothing's ever written in stone. These are all what you do when you're investigating. You come up with ideas and you work on those ideas until you get enough evidence to find out which one of those ideas is correct. And you don't, it's not magic. It's a lot of hard work. The point of profiling and crime scene analysis is to help you look for more evidence and go in the right direction. And I wish people would understand that and stop thinking it's some kind of, brilliant, I'm a god of profiling and one could just look at the scene and just know, you can give 20 different pieces of information about the person. And then when you catch that person, they're going to be exactly like your profile. That's nonsense. It doesn't work that way. Some people would like you to believe that, but it really doesn't work that way. So it is a technique. Profiling is a technique and a tool to be used in the process of investigation. And this is an educational channel, and I hope that what I've taught you tonight is educational and not about let's all be armchair profilers now and figure out who did this crime. No, let's leave that to the police from here on out. They're doing the work. Let them do the work. But I just wanted to give you an idea of how they might be looking, why they might be looking in certain directions, and then we'll see what the police find out and where their investigations finally do take them. And we'll see at some point, hopefully, that they've found the right person. That person is arrested. The person is convicted, and we'll know more about what the motive was and how it was accomplished later on when that comes out, if that comes out. So anyway, thank you for being here. If you haven't been to the channel before, please do like the channel, subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's see what happens in this case. And I do hope it comes to a conclusion and that the right person is found. And so I wish you all well until we find out more. Bye.